I'd like to call the meeting, the December 16th meeting of the Ordinance Committee to order. Mr. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Councilor Williams. And we'd like to go ahead and start our presentation. Ms. Ramirez will give a brief presentation.
Good afternoon.
We got new ones.
Good afternoon. Thank you. As you know, we were here at the full council on November 18th, where we were given direction to initiate an alternative building heights charter amendment and a companion ordinance. We had started doing some work with you prior to that. So the goal of today's meeting is we really want to get into better defining the specifics for those limited exceptions for the projects that could exceed 45 feet in height, should the charter amendment pass. Also to discuss the new 5-foot variable setback and go over the process and timing, because we are on a pretty tight time frame to get this all wrapped up and language due in June. Briefly, just going over the key points. This is all about possibly getting new building height standards for the C2, CM, and M1 zones, which currently allow 60 feet in height. It would be to reduce that to 45 feet or another height limit if you so determine, and having some limited exceptions that could exceed that 45 feet. Those including community priority land uses, affordable housing, and rental housing. And also looking at a revised setback and landscape standards for all buildings in the C2, CM, and possibly M1 zones. So the specifics that we would like to discuss are the questions related to building height, community priority land uses, the level or type and percentage of affordability, the rental units, and the variable 5-foot setback in C2 and CM. So we have a number of questions that we would hope to get into and discuss with you, if you so wish. So for now, I'm going to go over all of the questions, and then we can come back and go over however you wish to take them up. So one question that is on the table is, should the height limit be reduced to 40 or 45 feet? As you know, the EPV initiative is, the Save El Pueblo Viejo, is to reduce to 40 feet in El Pueblo Viejo. So the question is out there, should this alternative charter be 40 or 45? Another question, will a reduction to 40 feet actually be reducing the 4-story allowance to 3 stories to accommodate a sloped roof? Or would a 40-foot height limit result mostly in flat roofs for 3 to 4-story projects on smaller lots? Also, if the height is reduced, should a change to the building height definition be considered due to topography downtown and flood control standards, where buildings have to be raised to accommodate these things? Just as a refresher, a community priority project is those that are found by the City Council as necessary to meet a present or projected need directly related to public health, safety, or general welfare. General welfare is defined as a project which has a broad community benefit, like museums, childcare, and you've been provided previously with a list of those types of projects. So we'd want to talk about that again, that we want to confirm that it would be the same type of process for these projects, that the council would determine which of these projects meet that community priority if over 45 feet. As far as non-residential, what percentage of the commercial floor area should be occupied by a community priority land use to exceed the height limit? Should it be the entire first floor or just a portion? If a community priority project builds at greater than 45 feet, should there be a minimum time limit that it remains in community priority use? As you know, that use could go away and the building is there and another use come in. So how would we think of handling that? Now, questions as far as the affordable housing. What levels of affordability should be considered for additional height? Capital A being the very low, low and moderate, and other levels recognized by the city's affordable housing policies, like those middle and upper middle units that we see. What percentage of the units in a project should be affordable? Again, these are all questions for a project to exceed 45 feet in height. Should an exception be allowed for projects that provide a minimum number of units, for example 10, to avoid the unintended consequence of large market units with one inclusionary unit on top? This goes to the inclusionary unit project. If we said, let's double the inclusionary, and you only do it to a project with 1 or 2 units, you're really not getting very many inclusionary units. As far as affordability against continued, how long should the affordability restriction last? What number of years? And confirm that if the affordability is met, that the commercial component would be unrestricted and market commercial. And this was touched upon a little at the council meeting, that perhaps it should be allowed to maintain at market commercial. As far as rental housing, should 100% of the units be rental to be considered an exception to the height limit? If it's part of a mixed-use project, can the non-residential portion be any commercial use? Kind of that same question about the market commercial. Should the commercial be limited to the ground floor, or can it be on the second floor also?